right, y'all can hear me. Okay, good. Good. I have a question for you today. And my question for you is, what are you drawn to? And I don't mean this in like a sci-fi magnetism kind of way. What I mean is, what kind of medium are you drawn to? Because I believe that we are a creative people. We all possess the power and potential to make things that are meaningful and worthwhile in our lives. However, it's a matter of seeking out and finding these interests and creating good habits and nurturing these habits. And I think the problem we face is that we've grown to accept the status quo regarding what it takes to be creative. And today I want to dispel some of those preconceptions. I want to tell you what it doesn't take to be creative. And this starts with myth number 1. I call it creativity as a gift. Okay? We have a tendency to treat our ability to be artistic or creative almost as a binary function. Either you have it or you don't. That you are not born with a creative gene, or that you can't even draw a stick figure. And I think the problem is that it's not that we don't have creative bones, we have creative muscles. But over time, many of us have allowed them simply to kind of grow weak. We haven't used them in many, many, many years. Being artistic and creative has little to do with nature's gifts and more to do with listening to and nurturing those things that compel you, whether it is writing, dance, music, art, photography. We have to allow ourselves an environment free of judgment, expectations, preconceptions, and instead fill it with a naivete, a willingness to pursue your passions. And you'll know when you've found your medium, when you can't live without it. And let me take you back to 1987, when I got my first real skateboard. And I kind of unwittingly started down my own creative path, because skateboarding, I can attest, is an art form. It takes plenty of technique, balance, control, style, and self-expression. And one of the most important things I've learned from skateboarding is that it allowed me to suspend my inhibitions, because to become a better skater, you have to log in hours and hours of time and more or less teach yourself through intuition how to become better, how to become a better skater through the act of trial and error. When I was a kid, my biggest fear wasn't whether I would break a bone or bruise myself, it was whether I would ever stop skating. And in fact, there's one maneuver called the drop-in. And that's fundamental to ramp skating. And that's where you're basically leveraging all your weight from your back foot and then leaning all your weight forward to begin your run on a skateboard ramp. Now, this is one of the most unnatural feelings that you'll ever experience or try. Learning to do this will probably take 2 to 10 to 20 times of falling. And the reason why we fail, the reason why we fall, is simply because we're unable to put those front 2 trucks down on the ramp. We're unable to commit. Because looking down that transition wall, looking down that transition wall is comparable to beginning a painting. It's comparable to staring at a blank canvas. It can be terrifying. And that is the creative undertaking, is the willingness to commit. Skating like art is a leap of faith. It is not effortless. It is not magical. It requires a work ethic, perseverance, and most importantly, courage, which leads me to my second myth. This is what I call the myth of mastery, that in order to be creative, you have to have control. And this myth revolves around the assumption that any creative endeavor is a means to an end. And if your hard work falls below some predetermined metric established by academics, your peers, and especially yourself, then your efforts are a waste of time. And the last thing we want to do is fail, right? As humans, we're programmed for self-preservation. We're taught not to take risks. We're taught that we shouldn't get hurt. So as a defense mechanism, what do? We pad ourselves. We protect ourselves. We discount our endeavors. We forfeit our ownership, and we quietly pacify our creative spirit by saying, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. It doesn't look anything like the photo. It's ugly. I never went to art school. I went to too much art school. I have a writer's block. I just got a Netflix streaming account and started a new season, so I'm not gonna endeavor. I dispel this notion that the end product of the work is your reward. What is of the greatest value is you, the artist, and the process that you've taken on. The path is more important than the destination. Your tactile experience in your own medium, whatever it is, as long as it brings you joy, as long as it stimulates your creativity and curiosity, as long as it gives you self-motivation, then it is worth it. And the truth is that the creative process is nonlinear. It is counterintuitive, it is inefficient, and it's also idiosyncratic at times. It may or may not yield any results after hours and hours of really hard work. Making things will put you in a confrontation with yourself. It makes you vulnerable. It is a projection of yourself, like it or not. And you will bank all your self-esteem, all your self-worth, and all your self-ridicule in something as small as a doodle. Don't fall into that trap. Because really, 20,000 years ago, when human beings first started to mark the insides of their cave dwellings, do you think they sat back and said, it doesn't look like a bull? Do you think that when they transferred the silhouette of their hands on the wall, that they were worried about what other people would think? No. They were making these marks as a means to better understand the world around them. They were making these marks because it elevated their existence. They were making these marks to tell their story. And art enables you, the voice, to say that I exist. These are my hopes. These are my dreams. This is my voice. This is my memory. And this is my love. Did I also mention that it's fun? And we also have, as artists, as creators, we have the power to affect change in our communities. The gallery that my wife and I have founded is dedicating to sharing our work with the public, with the community, and also committed to exposure of other local and regional artists. We also collaborate with clients to improve their spaces. And most recently, I was fortunate enough to work with the World Wildlife Fund to give a voice to those that don't have one. And this is where art and activism can go hand in hand to perpetuate a global change. From protecting elephants from wildlife crime, or motivating software engineers to invent an app that helped with the monarch populations. This is the potential and the power of our collective and creative spirit, and I encourage you to embrace and ignite it. Which leads me to myth number 3. Or not. That's still the power of the future. Myth number 3. That there's no time. It's never too late to start down your creative path. It takes courage. It will take that leap of faith. It will take that bit of soul searching and listening for that creative child. It will take finding peers that encourage and help you. but I assure you that investing in your creative voice is well worth it. Your lives and the lives of others will be much richer. And there was never any time, and there never will be. So I encourage you to start today. Getting back to the drop-in. So my older son, Diego, is still attempting the drop-in. And in fact, we were at the park a couple weeks ago, and he was, kept kind of falling on his side. And I know what many of you parents might say, well, you're the dad, you should just hold his hand. And then that doesn't work either. Because when you do that, you hold his hand, and then he falls, and then he pulls you down, and the board shoots out, and it goes up the ramp, and it does its own thing, and it comes back, and it will hit one or both of you. So you don't want to do that. But anyway, we were driving in the car on the way back, and I was like, kind of giving him the father-son skate coach talk. And I was like, D, you got it. You just got a little bit of practice. Stomp down. You're going to get it. And he said, oh, I know. I'm going to land it soon because I'm not afraid anymore. Thank you.